What if you could let out what you're holding on to inside? What if you could finally not have to hold traumas in, stored emotions, this anxiety and stress that you feel each day? What if you could let it go? Well, I'm going to show you exactly how you can do that. How do we allow ourselves to start to feel these emotions so that we don't have to hold them inside? How do we release them? Well, as I have said before, I am a breathwork coach. These are the tools that I use to allow you to be able to release those emotions that you're holding onto inside because we can release them. We can let them go. A big tagline of mine before was let that shit go. It's actually right behind my toilet in my bathroom. Kind of funny there. But let that shit go. So, how do we do that? So, breath work is such a beautiful, beautiful tool. And it might be a little bit mainstream, and you might think, like, hey, I've heard about breath work. I've seen Wim Hof. I've seen this. I've seen that. I've looked it up on YouTube. Like, yeah, it's cool, but can it really help me? So, this is how I think about breath work. Breath work is a mechanism to allow you to go into your body to see where you're holding these suppressed emotions to actually form this connection with yourself. So I don't look at breath work as just breathing. I look at breath work as a tool. So for myself, I've done plant medicine, I've done multiple different types of breath work, and all these tools basically allow us to tap out of the mind, the constant thinking mind, and go inside of our body. So let me backtrack and actually talk about what breath work is before I get ahead of myself. Breath work is basically conscious breathing. We are consciously focusing on our breath to put us into a certain emotional or nervous system state. So you can use your breath to stimulate your sympathetic nervous system in two ways. You can stimulate your sympathetic nervous system by shallow breaths, breathing up in your chest to put you into a stressed out state. We don't want to really get in that state, but many of us are in that state all throughout the day. We're breathing up in our chest. But we can also use our breath to stimulate our sympathetic nervous system to allow us to release emotions inside. So when you go into a breathwork session, for me, for instance, we'll go into cyclical patterns of breathing in through the mouth and out through the mouth. Really little space between the inhale and exhale. And this is going to stimulate your sympathetic nervous system to allow you to release emotions inside because this type of breath stimulates an emotional release. This can be in the form of crying, screaming, yelling, laughing, whatever needs to be felt. So that is what we can do with our breath. We can also use our breath to put us into a parasympathetic rest and recover state. So this allows us to open up ourselves to receive more. It allows us to decrease stress. It allows us to decrease anxiety. When we get into the state, we go into this very relaxed night state. And what you're actually doing in that period is you're raising your vibration. You're clearing out the lower vibration things that you're holding onto in your body, and you're actually allowing yourself to raise that vibration. So that's what we can do with our breath just by consciously focusing on your breath. And on a simpler level, you can just use your breath to get ready for a meeting, get ready for a podcast. And you can also use your breath to get into a really nice chilled out state if you're feeling more stressed or to get ready for bed. These are all ways that we can use our breath because the breath is what connects every single thing in our body. It's the first thing that we do when we are born, and it's the last thing we do before we die, and it connects everything within us. So I can put you in a really stressed out state or a very, very calm state, all just by using your breath. And so to discuss what I was talking about before, now with our breath, we are able to tap into our bodies, like I said. And the reason for this is when we start to go into these big, powerful breaths. So you're breathing in through your mouth, out through your mouth, and you do that over and over again. You might see this in holotropic breath work, in somatic breath work, and Wim Hof. These longer periods of this big inhale and exhale, what it's causing you to do is stimulate. You have this chemical inside of you called DMT, and which is N-dimethyltryptamine, if you want to know the actual name of it. And what DMT does is we hold it in our lungs. That's the main place that we hold it. So when you go into these big diaphragmatic breaths, you're actually stimulating that DMT. What DMT allows you to do is it allows the mind to go from the conscious thinking mind to the subconscious mind, which allows you to tap into your whole body. And it allows you to go into your nervous system. Your nervous system is where all these emotions are stored, all these past experiences. And it's also held in a specific part of your brain called the limbic system. The limbic system is where all those emotions and all those memories are stored. All the actual memories of those experiences are there. So when you stimulate the DMT, what you're doing is you're tapping into your nervous system and you're tapping into this part of your brain. You really go into the subconscious mind, the mind that's always there and always listening, but just not the conscious thinking mind, the one that always talks. And when you do this, you're able to go into the body and see where you're holding those stored emotions. So when I'm guiding somebody through a breathwork session, I might feel that they're holding a lot in their chest. So I'll say, feel into your chest. We hold a lot of grief in this area. Feel into your chest and see what you're holding there. And now you feel into your chest and you might feel the grief of losing a parent. You might feel the grief of losing a dog, like it can be something like that. And you might feel that. And then the limbic system is tapping in as well, and it allows you to feel and actually see what emotion you didn't allow yourself to feel during that time. So it might be you never allowed yourself to actually feel and process the grief. So that might cause you then, when you're breathing and you're in this unconventional state of consciousness, a different state of consciousness than you and I are in right now, you can feel into that past memory. And it's not going to cause you to necessarily like feel really scared or shameful. It'll be like, oh my God, I never allowed myself to actually feel that emotion that I was needing to during that time. So then you're able to quickly, because you're in this unconventional state of consciousness, feel the emotion that you never allowed yourself to feel. We are emotional beings. And when we allow ourselves to feel that emotion, we then allow it to be released. So this grief that I was holding on to from losing my parent, during that time, I'll probably be able to connect with my parent. I might even speak with my parent. And my parent will say, this isn't yours to hold any longer. Or you might say to yourself, this isn't yours to hold any longer. Or I might say to you, because I'm feeling into your energy, this isn't yours to hold any longer. And knowing that, you can give yourself some forgiveness, feel the emotion that you never allowed yourself to feel, and then you can ultimately allow that stored emotion inside of you to be released. And now you're not holding that grief in your heart anymore. This grief might have been causing a health issue. It might have been causing a heart problem. It might have been causing really tight chest. So you're stressed out and you're anxious a lot more. And now your chest, it starts to open up. It starts to release. For the first time, you feel like you can actually breathe. You feel like you're open, you're expanded because you're not holding this emotion and this pain any longer that was causing your chest to come inward. This is why we see so many people with these hunched over backs. It's actually closed hearts because, to actually explain the process of this, when an emotion, so when something comes through, your body is all energy, and energy is meant to be moved. This is how atoms and cells are created in your body. This energy keeps moving. However, that energy can get blocked. So when something happens to you, we have this sense of perception around us. So when we have these our eyes open, there's a lot of inputs that come into us. There's a lot of energy, and that energy is meant to just flow through us. So at first, when something comes in, when there's an input or there's an imprint, there's an emotion that comes through us, it goes up to the brain first to be released. But with our constant thinking mind, it's not actually able to be released and let go of. So then it goes down into our hearts. Now, if we don't allow this energy to flow through us naturally, we just allow ourselves to feel the emotion and then we let it go. We realize it's not ours and we don't hold on to it any longer. But most of us, that doesn't happen. We cling on to the emotion or we suppress it. So over time, your heart starts to close more and more and more. So more and more of like a hunchback. Your heart is just closing, 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 closing. Now, when you get into a breathwork session and you actually feel into your heart space for the first time, your heart starts to open and open and open and open, and you release more and more and more. And once you start releasing, you go, oh my God, this isn't as bad as I thought it was. This isn't as hard. I actually really like this, and I start to feel better. So you start to open more and more and more and more and more. And then you don't have these emotions inside of you that are holding you back. I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment down below letting me know what you enjoyed most about this video and what you want to see next. I'm sending you love, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.